So, the first thing I want to tell you is at the end of this message, I have a snack for all of you, okay? Okay, I've got a snack for all of you at the end of this message. Sound good? Okay. No, not yet.
It's a surprise
Okay.
like our surprise.
So first thing, but I want to ask you, have your parents or friends ever made promises to you? Yeah? Like what type of promises? What'd they promise? That they'd be your friend? That they'd be nice to you? It's a good promise. Do you have any other promises? What promises your parents make you? What? That they'd always love you? That they'll get a car for you when you grow up. Okay. It's a good promise. That they'll pay a lot of money for you. Okay. I like these promises. And can you trust your parents' promises? Yes? Sometimes? Oh. Oh, your friends. You can trust your friends' promises. You can't trust your friends' promises, but you can trust your parents. You can trust your parents. How do you know you can trust your parents? Because they love you. That's a good reason. I like it. What do you think? How do you know you can trust your parents' promises? Because they're your mom and dad, and that's all that matters. I like it. Because if you don't trust them, but they actually do it, it'll be a big surprise. Let's see. What?
Good snacks.
Well, that's my snack.
I can't trust your promise that you'll give us snacks.
No, I'm telling you. At the end of this message, I have snacks for all of you, okay? Okay. And let's just got my wallet.
I
Okay.
trust you to give us snacks, but I don't trust you if you're gonna give us.
You don't trust there'll be fruit snacks. There'll be snacks of some type.
I
Okay.
trust.
So, wait a second. Grandpa's. So when I was little, my parents made me a promise. They said, when you grow up, if you want to, you can become president. You're amazing. You can do anything. That's what they told me. And then, you know what happened? No, I ran for class president, and no one voted for me. I couldn't even become class president. How do you think I'd become president of the United States? But after that, my parents told me, they said, you're amazing. You can do anything you want. If you want to be, you can be president someday, I promise. And you know what? I got to college, and there was an organization I was in, and I ran for president for that. I became vice president once, but I never became president. If I can't become president of an organization in college, how am I going to be president of the United States?
I don't know. You teach here.
But you know what my parents told me? Yeah, vice president. Oh, just go for vice president, lower my expectations. But my parents said afterwards, they said, we promise you, you can do anything you want. If you want to be president, you can be president someday. Do you think I should trust my parents? Yes? Do you think that promise is right? No?
Pastor Tyler.
Yeah.
I do not trust you I do not like Cheez-Its, so I do not want you to give me Cheez-Its.
Okay, no Cheez-Its. So do you think I should trust my parents? Yes? I don't know. I feel like there's no chance I'm ever going to be president now.
You're a liar.
And I promise you, at the end of this message, I have snacks for all of you, okay?
Where?
You see,
In your bottom and your shirt?
I'm not sure my parents were right. I think it's probably too late for me to be president of the United States at this point. I'd have to do a lot of different things.
Joe Biden's 80.
I got 40 more years. I could try. But this is kind of how Abram felt. He wasn't always sure that he could trust God's promises either. God promised, God took Abraham and said, leave your family and go to a new land, and I promise I will give you that land to you and your descendants. And Abram got to the land. At first, he was like, this land looks great. And then you know what happened? There was a famine. Do you know what a famine is? A famine means there's no food. There's no food. And Abram's like, well, I'm out of here. I'm not going to deal with a famine. And he left and went to somewhere else. But eventually, God brought him back to this land, and God said, I promise you, I will leave this land to you and your descendants, your children and your children's children. But Abram again said, I'm not sure, and Abram went somewhere else. And God brought Abram back. When Abram came back, God said, look at the stars. You see those stars? Your descendants are going to be as many as the stars. And you know what Abram said? Abram said, I'm over 80 years old and I have no children. How will that happen? Oh, we'll talk about that in another story, okay? I'll answer that one later. But so, not a portal. But so he comes back, and God says, I make you this promise. And would you believe God after all these times? He had a famine, and Abram's got no children, so how is his descendants going to inherit this land if he's 80 years old and has no children? Would you trust God?
Yes.
Yeah?
Vote for president of the world.
Abram had a hard time trusting God because it seemed like things weren't going the right way. And it seemed like the way that God was talking about was not the way that Abram's life was working. But eventually, Abram came to trust God. And Abram did have a child named Isaac. And they named him Isaac because the name means laughter. It brought laughter, joy into him and Sarah's life. And so they had a lot of fun. And so us too, you know, God makes promises to each of us. When we are baptized in these waters, we are promised, no, this one's for me, okay? I promise you, at the end of my message, I have a snack for all of you too, okay?
I think that's snacks allowed.
When we're baptized, God makes a promise to us. God promises to love us, to care for us, and to forgive us whenever we do anything wrong. But I know sometimes it's hard to trust those promises. We have a bad day, or maybe we fail our swimming test, or maybe one of our friends gets sick. Fail the pastry test? Pacer test. And on those days, it might feel hard because it feels like life's going in a different direction than God's promises. But Abram teaches us that we can always trust God's promises. And even when life feels like it's going in a bit of a different direction, God will bring us back to the right direction and fulfill it. Okay, I promised you that I have snacks. And since we are called to be in the image of God, to be like God, then my promises should be trustworthy too, right? Okay, here, sit here. Wait, let's see. Oh, it's definitely fruit snacks. I got snacks. For all of you, thank you guys for coming on up. And remember, I didn't say fruit snacks. I said those were mine. You don't want any? Oh, it's one for everyone. Thank you all for coming up. And remember, you can always trust God.
Thank you for joining us. Be sure to like if you heard good news and subscribe to stay up to date on the latest message. Peace be with you.